don't pass left and right, I would encourage you to try that. Okay, start and going forward, I would encourage you to try both sides. So that's the first lesson I try to teach people is left and right passing. Okay, so left and right passing, I kind of break it down to rules. Okay, my guard passing system has just got like 5 simple rules. It's got about 8, you've got about 5 you can teach in a day. The first one is left and right. The reason why left and right is so important is because you want them to not, it's not about if you can actually pass, it's that they have to defend. If they've got to put defence on both left and right, that splits the defence straight in the middle. It'd be like the football team saying, look, we'll only cover half the pitch. Like, you just put all your men there, okay? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, the reason why you use the whole pitch is so you can split the defence. And that's why I do my pass. I don't concern myself whether I want to go left or right. I just think, right, has you got a lot of defence there? Well, I'll go there. You got a lot of defence there? I'll go there. Okay? So the first one we're going to do is a 2-second drill. Okay? So a lot of you might be familiar with generic 2-step drills. Okay, so a lot of you might be familiar with these 2-step drills. I've done it before. Oh, happy with that? Okay, so basically we're going to do a 2-step drill but in the pocket. Okay, so there's a position called headquarters, or this position that people come to. Okay, headquarters for us, for my team in particular, is slightly different to what I see in conventional headquarters. So see how immediately Kev always started to do for me, and started to face this side. Yeah, this is not where I want him at all. For headquarters, I always want to try to put my knee onto the opposite groin. Yeah, so if I put my knee on the opposite groin, I'm not left or right now. You see, so this is actually this little deal here, this is the margin of passing, is the truth. This is what we force all the time. Because if we can try and stay central, we can now push left or right and force defense. As soon as you come in the pocket like this, the truth is to get over there, it's so difficult. And now you're just fighting everything they've got. Okay, so this is the first thing. Like when we come to headquarters, like coming near the opposite groin and trying to keep him relatively square. So the first thing we're going to do is just a 2-step drill. So we 2-step to our knee cut side, 2-step back, and then 2-step to a smash pass side. 2-step back. That's what like out to the guard. You generally step your what we call a trailing leg first. So generally if I was going to try and start stepping round, I would step trailing leg first, because if I step lead leg, it opens up coming underneath. When you're actually already in the pocket, however, in this position, it actually makes no odds whether you step like left to right or right to left, because there's no split stance forward. As soon as you're side on like this, you can literally do this or this. It makes no difference, okay? So what I tell is don't overthink it. Whichever way feels natural, just do that. I don't think I have to set this first or this second. It makes no difference. When you are passing from back though, it does make a difference. So your trailer leg should go first so that you don't split stance for them to come underneath you. All good? Yeah, well, I teach this a certain way. Usually I teach it like knee cut first and then like some concept after. But I'll teach the concepts now and then the knee cut after, okay? So right now we're just going left to right, which is ideal. So the second thing I try to talk about a lot is pressure. Okay, now a lot of people struggle with applying any pressure whatsoever. Alright? Now I'm also not the biggest of people, you know, I'm not massive. So for me to pass it like Kev's guard, I've got a feeling it's going to be fucking really tricky anyway, is the truth. But I want to make sure I try to melt him all the time. Pressure works that way. Pressure all the time doesn't work as like a one hit, one kill. Alright? So if you had to like define the difference between strength and pressure, what do you think you define that as? Anyone?
Using weight. Using weight.
Okay, using weight is good. Okay. Using gravity, yeah, okay. It basically is your application of how you put your body weight and strength. Because strength in one direction is not always good. When you use strength in a bad direction, it's just pointless anyway. That's how people who are small can feel strong. That's how you can offset even the strongest people. If you apply your strength better than they do, you will feel stronger. The easiest way to think about that concept is if you go on bench press and say it's hypothetical that your bench press is 100 kilograms, which hopefully one day mine will be. Okay, we have to hear it. Look, if I push straight lines, that's the best line I can get it. If your friend literally nudged the bar like this and moved it an inch or an inch up, how much would you lose in your strength? It's loads, isn't it? It's not just like a little bit. Like it's tons and tons and tons. So when I see people who are quite slow when I can't apply pressure, I can't hold this person down, if you adjust your weight sometimes an inch one way or the other, like the actual weight they feel goes exponentially up. Yeah, because you don't lose your strength linear, you lose it exponential. As in when I hold the bar like this, if you lose an inch or a foot, you don't lose equal strength for every inch. You actually lose way more strength for every inch you go. So if that's not comforting, I don't know what is. You know, because if you're small and you're not strong as a person, then surely you learn how to apply your weight and pressure will give you the confidence that you could actually play someone much heavier for the mat. Okay, so we're going to start with an easy idea. So this is we've got the 2-inch rule in our gym. It's basically you just need everything to go 2 inches further forward than you think you do. Alright? So basically when I'm applying pressure to Kev's guard here, it doesn't matter what guard, okay, like you can go to the head coach position, but it just is the same for all guards. So I come in like this and Kev's establishing guard here. See, that's real life. Kev's got a real good framework here, he's feeling solid, okay? But right now, if I ask him how much pressure he's under, he'll probably say none. Yeah, very minimal. But what happens a lot is when you get into a position like this, you hit the frames and you go, yeah, now he feels good. Yeah, he's strong. But if I stay there, then I'll never get him to start melting. So I always think, if I can, I go just up and forward. Just this 2 inches like this. And now with the weight of gravity helping me here, this should start to feel heavier.
Carrying me, yeah, sure.
Yeah? Okay? The problem is a lot of people don't want to go forward. A lot of people stay back like this when they're passing the guard, which to me seems mental. You want to pass the guard. You know, so you can ask them before at some point, don't you? In particular, people start to really panic about this when leg lockers became more prominent. Okay, because when people start pushing forward, people go underneath and tighten the legs. I always say, like, I'm going to get tight in my legs. You're not going to pass guard and not get tight in my legs. So just learn how to deal with legs and then have good pressure, and eventually you'll melt a leg locker. Every leg locker I've ever fought, they get me in honey hole or saddle, like, immediately. I escape, and then they go, oh, that was my best thing. Okay, so don't worry about it, like, you will start to beat them, no stress. So look, what we're going to do now, we're going to do the two-step drill like this, going side to side, but all we're going to focus on, instead of holding our weight, we're just going to try to hold our weight on them a bit. Okay, as soon as you do this in your chest over chest, this becomes uncomfortable for them, and they're actually holding weight now. And you'll actually start to feel this over the hour you drill. If you do the 2 inches all the time, the person on bottom, their hip flexors and legs will start to fatigue. Okay, so when you're fighting against the person when you're sparring, it's excellent. Okay, it's such an easy idea, but just don't hold your weight. Just get them to hold your weight. So all the times when I'm passing, I'm always looking to just push a bit more forward than I can. And every time I come into position, if I hit a frame, I'll always try to eat the frame a little bit. Yeah, if Kev frames hard here, I'll always just try to sit over this frame a bit. Yeah, I'll always try to sit onto the frame, because this will actually, I'm not trying, gravity's doing the work for me. You see, it's like free, yes, free pressure. Is everybody happy with that? Okay, this is so easy, it's so easy. But it's literally like putting like a 10-kilo backpack on. You felt it straight away, yeah?
Yeah, that's sure.
Okay, so this is simple. Alright, like obviously nothing I'm showing is going to be like unreal. It's going to be very simplistic, but if you just continuously do the same thing, you will pass the guard eventually. Are you happy with that? Okay. I show, one thing I show is about we call it marble on the back. Alright, so far we've got left and right, 2-inch rule and marble on the back. Alright, I always think like if you just put like a name for the rules, it's easier for you to remember going forward. But the idea of marble on the back is very, very straightforward, okay? Ken, you got anyone you don't like?
Yeah, most of them I can't tell them.
Pick anyone you want? Tom, alright? Okay, so now if I got Tom, okay, Tom, just lie face down for me, head that side, head the floor, and like a star for me, okay? Good, just hold that position, alright? So basically, if you look at Tom now, okay, he is in what I'd call the absolute pinnacle position to not be swept. Yeah, it's like, that is the best position to not be swept. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, how would you sweep that? It'd be so difficult to get that person to flip. Alright? Obviously, it's dog shit. You can't do that in jiu-jitsu. You're just going to beat everything because they're just going to take you back and choke you. Alright? But if you can understand this, as in his base is as spread as it can be, and his centre of gravity is as close to the floor as it can be, that makes you the hardest you can be to be swept. Okay? The basic concepts of sweeping are very, very straightforward. Tom, can you jump up? I do stand in this line for you. And face that one. Okay, the basic idea of sweeping is very, very straightforward. You either have to rotate the hips or the shoulders. Okay, all sweeps will do this, okay, guaranteed, 100%. So, because I can prove it, because if I ask Tom to face his shoulders to that wall, he'll keep hips facing that wall for me, okay? So, shoulders always face that wall. Okay, it's not possible. Okay, it's true. But as soon as, if you take shoulders as much as you can, as soon as shoulders rotate past a certain point, the hips have to follow. And if you do vice versa, look, you can now move your feet to turn your hips to face that wall, but keep your chest facing that wall. Okay? It's the same thing. As soon as the hips rotate past a certain point, the chest has to follow. Okay? So essentially, the easiest way to think about not being swept is don't rotate. I know you're saying, oh, well, that's obvious. But is it though? Because why don't you get swept then? I mean, it's the truth, isn't it? Like, why if it's that obvious, just don't rotate, why do you still get swept? You see? So the truth is, the problem is most people don't understand the idea behind not rotating. So for example, so if I care like this, like for example, I don't teach any lower grades to do any long step passing. No gi. Gi I would 100%. Gi is much different, you understand? Gives good grips. But no gi, for example, in this position, I don't tell anyone to do style passes because I've optionally fully rotated my hips. So technically I've half swept myself. Yeah, okay, I've kind of half passed as well, but why would you play those odds when you don't need to? Okay, I'm very, very pro just the stats of the game, as in like, what is high percentage, what is not high percentage. The truth is, most people do not pass when they long step in no gi. Alright? So, because you have to take your body. So the marble was very, very straightforward. Do you know like the old school games where like you got a marble and a ball, you try to put the ball through the holes? Older guys are like, fuck yeah, I remember that, okay? Younger people, I told somebody when they're all young, and I was like, what are you on about, man? That's not on the Xbox, you know? Alright? So look, okay? Just think of this, but with the ball can't go off the side of the wood. So you're trying to get a hole in the piece of wood, your back is the piece of wood, and you can't let the ball roll off left or right. Because anytime you're in this position like this, and I was saying to Kev, if Kev even puts anything and try to sweep me, all I've got to try to do at all times is keep my back and chest facing the floor. Just at all times. And you won't get swept. Okay? And it is honestly that simple. Basic MMA guys are very, very good at doing this. The MMA guys are the absolute best in the world at this. In particular, butterfly. You know, like a butterfly like this, when you start to sweep you, and they just, MMA guys are just like this the whole time. You can't get their hips or their shoulders to rotate. This is where I got the concept from. Because my gym's used to be half MMA, half jiu-jitsu. This is by the MMA guys, and I'm like, I can't sweep them. The problem is an MMA guy can't pass though. Yeah, they pure jiu-jitsu, they tend to be quite poor at passing because they will try to hit you instead. So the balance between those two is to try to do the 2-inch roll going over the top, but keep the marble on our back all the same. So when I'm in this position like this, in headquarters, I'm trying to come forward like this, look, my back and chest needs to be quite strong. See, so like, if you round, you're just going to get thrown. If your hips aren't engaged, they won't feel the weight. So I really want to make sure I feel like I'm strong all the time. Okay? Then we can simply start to two-step by keeping our back and hips strong. Alright, so one of the other things I'm watching at the moment, where people are a little bit arched, or the hips aren't engaging, or a bit casual. Alright? And it only takes like a split second for them to like knee tap you, wrestle up, switch under for legs, anything of the above. Any questions? Okay, so we've got 2-inch rule, marble, and then left and right. I promise I'll teach you jiu-jitsu soon. I promise. Alright? But these are important. Your body position is far more important. Imagine you don't get swept down, like going forward. Like how better would your life be? I always say like in jiu-jitsu, like say the game about comes, bottom, Kev can take my back, he can sweep me, or he can submit me, or he can stand up. Okay, those are his 4 options. There's no other options. My options is guard pass, submit, or take the back. Because I was saying like polo from standing or something, you know? So if I eliminate some of his options bit by bit, I don't let him stand up. I don't let him submit me. I don't let him take my back. I don't let him sweep me. Well, damn, what's left? Only my options. Okay, like I focus just as much on trying to eliminate their options as I do actually taking my own. Okay, so like any match I go into, I'm always like, I won't get submitted, it's fine. Like, because I've just got that confidence I'm not going to get submitted. So if I can eliminate that, my confidence is already higher. When you go to a tournament and you're just petrified of losing, you're like, oh, I don't want to get taken down, I don't want to get taken down. Oh, you're just going to get taken down, aren't you? That's just the truth. Do you know what I mean? Because you should go to a tournament like, this guy can't beat me. Nobody's taking me down today. Like you ask me, I would say my guard's impassable. I mean, some of my pass me today. But I will deny it to the end of the year. Alright? I bet you want to fucking pass it off it. Alright? But that's the truth, because you need confidence when you do this type of game, when you want to pressure somebody, you don't want to lose that confidence in your head. So like these rules are very easy rules which keep you very safe and keep the pressure on them and not on you. All happy now? Okay, 1, 2, 3. It probably won't be that fun. Alright? Now that's not the problem I'll say, is if you're looking for, like, say you're down on points and you've got 30 seconds left, don't do this. This takes time. Like you want to be doing this from the start of the match and making them suffer so that you get success. If I was down on score and I had to pass, I'd be loose passing all day. I would just get out of range and I'd be just toying with my feet, pin passing, the real tall style stuff, going towards the head like Gabriel Souza. I wouldn't come in the pocket because it's one of the best positions they can try to tie you up in 50-50 or anymore or anything. Okay? So, you're doing well, okay? You're doing nice, it's, so far so good. And we got the smash pass knee cut to go through and underhooks. Okay? So basically what I'll show you my knee cut as like the knee cut we use. But I'm just going to cover up a question I had on this and about the head coach position we use and the knee being on the opposite run. Okay? So when I come into the counter guard like this, and I get my knee in, obviously I want to try to put my knee onto the opposite groin if I can, but I don't actually want to push it. Because if I push and make his knee face this way, he could now start to turn his body this way and start to play a little reverse half guard on me like this. But see, now I'm back in the same problem. All of his defenses come to one side. So for me to get back to this side is going to be very, very difficult. Like, I don't actually want to be sitting in a position where all his defense is on that side. Because the longer I stay here for, yeah, okay, I could try and crush and pass, but I can feel it, man. Kev's already got everything locked he wants. If I was in this position now, I'd square back up, and I'd try to keep it. I would try to just keep him back in centre now, so he knows that I'm not just committed there. Yeah. I wouldn't just keep sitting in a position where they can just go, we can't pass. I would just square back up a lot, and make them go, look, he knows he can still go left and right. Okay, that makes you a lot more dangerous. Okay? So we're going to go through a very simple underhooking drill that we use, and then we'll go through the actual passes themselves. Alright? So usually I teach it the exact opposite way around, but I think this is much better because you can start feeling the weight on each other from the first minute, and then you understand how pressure works over the length of the class. Okay? Usually I show these details, these last ones, these pressure ones, right at the end. And everyone's like, oh yeah, that's pretty, it's pretty good. And I'm like, it's not though. Like, it's really good. It's like, they're going to suffer under your weight way more than if you do all the time. Okay? So the underhook drill we're going to do. So you think when you come into the position, how many underhooks can you have? How many is available to you? 2. Yeah, 2. But look, as soon as I do this, and I go to one side, which underhook do I need? Yeah, my top side, isn't it? Yeah, if I pass right, I underhook left. If I pass left, I underhook right. So again, like talking about options, once you pick a side, then you may as well just be like, mate, text it, hey mate, I need top side underhook, you want to give it to me? But they're going to fight you for this, isn't it? They're going to fight you all day. This is going to be hard work. They're not going to give you it for free. But for example, okay, look at Kev's body positioning. Funny enough, this underhook is actually quite available to me. Because he can't afford to keep this elbow tucked in. Because obviously I'll just crush his face. So this hand is always going to be away from the body. But the problem is if I put this hand to the mat here, and underhook, I'm on the wrong side. So that's what I'm saying, when we're back in the middle here, if we play the sides against each other, see if I push this way a little bit, Kev's done exactly the defence which most people do. Then I put my hand to the mat here, when I come back, see I gain my underhook. Okay, so this is travelling to gain your underhook. Okay, so travelling to gain your underhook is actually very strong. Because every time they fight you off and force you from one side to the other, I don't often fight back that hard. I go, yeah, no worries, I'll just go the other way, no stress. But as I move, I'll always try to get my underhook on them. But once you get to that side, then try to get your underhook, that's hard work, man. Because it's the only thing they're going to stop, isn't it? You know, so I always say, if you're a white or blue belt, you just shouldn't pass without an underhook. You shouldn't pass. There's no, like, the success rate is very low, especially in submission grappling. If you're sweaty, it's hard work. Is anyone a football fan? Any football fans in the house? Yeah, you a football fan? Who do you support? Coventry. Fuck,
that's why I didn't say anything.
I think I had a football team. So let's say you're watching your team play, okay? And they shoot and they miss the bar by an inch, and they miss, yeah? How do you feel? Yeah, we got it in. You're like, oh, I was so close, man. I was so close, right? Say they shoot and they hit the corner flag. How do you feel?
What are you doing?
You're literally like, you get paid millions of pounds and you hit the foot like a fucking better than that, and you're just screaming at TV, alright? But I see this in jiu-jitsu all the time. People literally get to this position against somebody, they miss the underhook, and then they'll pass, and then the person will recover, and they'll be like, oh, I'm so close. Well, guess what? Your football team, what's the score still? It's still 0-0. It's still 0-0. And almost is a nothing. Just in case you don't know that, almost is a nothing. Okay? And it's something we're very, very big on our team. Because like, if people come up to me like, I was scoring today, I'm like, I almost won a lot today as well. I'm like, shut the fuck up, man, you got nothing. You got nothing. You did not get what you said you were going to get. Alright, so like, we only work in absolutes in jiu-jitsu. You either got the position or you didn't. So that's why yoga in particular I find is the worst one, because people will pass 100 times and miss and go home and feel like they've had the best day of their life. They're like, I almost passed 100 times. Your stats are actually 0 or 100. Yeah, so you should go home feeling terrible. I mean, that in the nicest possible way. Right? But you should, like, when we get the underhook is actually one of the best tools we can have to complete our pass. So I always say, if you're white, blue, even purple, just don't pass. You run with the underhook, just don't bother. Just retreat a little bit and get back to the middle. If I come to this side, and then Kev beats me in the underhook, look, I'll just come back up. Until I can get the pass inside with the underhook. Yeah, so it's just a real, again, it's an easy rule you can stick to. Have a look at the underhook. No. Well then just don't almost pass them. Alright, just pass them. Yeah? So look in this position, look, which can use left and right. So in here, when we're floating, we're pushing, our weight's heavy, 2 inches, marble, all that's going well. Everyone's doing that. We're two-stepping now. Once we two-step, we can two-step a little bit or a lot. So I can try to push all the way, and try to get a smash pass, or I can just push a little bit. See? Or I push this way a little bit. See, it doesn't matter which side I get the underhook, because there's two available to me. If his elbow comes away from the body, I'm just going to put my hand to the mat. I'm just going to put my hand to the mat like this. What I'm not going to do is put my hand to the mat like this. Because if I put my hand deep and I try to come back, there's no way you're going to beat them. There's no way they're going to let you go over there and get a nice tidy underhook. They know what's coming. So you want to be quite casual. You put your hand to the mat between their elbow and their ribs, and then they actually think, this guy knows what he's doing. But they do. Because when you travel back, you get your underhook. Any questions on that? Okay, so we're using the left to right movement to make the elbows flare. And we want to go the opposite way, hand to the mat, travel back and punch the underhook in. So we land in a good passing position with an underhook.
Where do you like to keep your single underhook? You know when you're coming back, where's the trap point? You're looking for lat, you're looking
Okay,
for
so when I come back from my underhook, what I actually want to make sure, realistically, is actually I try to beat the hand. So when I come here, I actually try to like, I try to crunch my arm in like this, because the way Kevin's shooting on, that's still fine for me. Like, I am absolutely happy with that. What I don't want to do is ever come back where the elbow beats my shoulder line. See, so when I come back across, I actually make sure I punch my shoulder deep and the hand goes up by the top of the shoulder. I don't care about this, how deep this goes. I actually care more about my shoulder getting engaged in this underhook so that the elbow can't come back in. Because a lot of people do this and then the elbow beats them. But if I can keep the elbow in and look, just keep my head on the wrist, even like, I say this now, right? Being something like Kev's much bigger and stronger than me, but if I'm on the wrist and under the elbow and get hand to hand, that's still super hard for him to get that arm to work again. Is that happy with that?
That's magic, that is. I don't think people realise what you're just showing them now, do they?
There you go.
That's fucking horrible. Nobody does that. I can always pummel my arm back in.
Yeah, okay, so like this. Okay, like this, that's actually one reason I like enjoy teaching black belts, because we show something they go, oh, that's actually really cool. And I know he's been in the game for a long time, so to show Kev something that he thinks is cool, for me is a real big win. Alright? Because I show loads of stuff, I show loads of stuff, people, oh yeah, you do something similar to that. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. But my job is to show you something different. You know, so this, honestly, for me again, it's just like, I'm like, oh, it's a casual deal. But if you, Kev likes it, I'm going to try to show that going forward now. Alright? So when I come here, I want to beat the elbow from back inside, yeah? Okay, 1, 2, 3. And you'll find what works for you. I'm going to show you my version of a kneecap that we do in the team. A couple of common problems. And then I'll show you the smash pass as well. So you get comfortable. And then we'll go from there. Alright? So, let's say, okay, I'm doing everything we said. I hit the head coach position. Try to get that knee square, centered, okay? Again, like, if Kev starts to like move off to one direction or the other, move left or right, I'll always try to fight and centrally straight back. I usually push that way. I'll always try to come back and just keep making sure I push that center position until I want to attack, you know? Like, you really don't want to get, I always say, like, imagine every gym was just terrible at Del Heaver, just pretend. And then you fight someone and they put Del Heaver in, and you're like, oh, Del Heaver's a rubbish guy. And I goes the best Del Heaver in the world. Okay, if this happened to me, I got put a Spider Guard in Worlds, black belt like 7 years ago. In my opinion, I was like, oh, Spider Guard's terrible. I was like, I'll beat this guy now. I was like this for 7 minutes. I was like, I just can't fucking move, man. And then he swept me, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, I just lost the Spider Guard. I had to go back to the gym, like, boys, Spider Guard's not shit. I lost to it. We gotta practice more, you know? So like, when we're in this position like this, even if they go to the reverse half this way, don't be like, oh, that's not very good. Anything they establish where they feel strong, that's good. I can't have Kev established like this. So again, I'll always come back and say that even if I have to take my weight off him a little bit, because here I feel way better. I feel way better I did there, because this is diminishing his guard. Does that make sense, Trevor? Okay, so you don't want to let them establish, okay?
Do you use your hands a little bit as well? Like it's not, I feel like this is playing a big part in your ability to stop me from getting over to...
I'm going to go through we call it the disruption rule. I'm going to go for that last, because that's the best one, is the idea of disruption. But basically you're trying to like stop them from establishing anything. Alright? So let's say I go for my kneecap and head coach like this. I get my underhook, get a push, get my underhook, and I come back to my kneecap. The biggest problem when you kneecap usually is the Z-guard coming in front. So as you come here, is this knee coming in front. Okay? Now most people know that's already going to be the case. You know that's going to come in. So one of the easiest solutions we came up with was just to kick your shoelaces in the back of the knee. Okay? So in this position like this, and I come across, what I'm going to do is I put my shoelaces in the back of this knee, and that will actually make my hip drop down. So a lot of people's problem in this position is they play a staple. A staple in the kneecap position would be toes facing down and knee on the mat. But it doesn't matter how tight, even if I beat the knee and I get tight to Kev, he will always get that knee back in. If my leg is straight, he will always fight that back in. It's just not possible. If my shin is facing the floor, he will always get his knee back in. If I put my shoelaces onto his leg here, my hip will drop. If I get to this position now, I promise you that knee is not coming back in. It's just not possible. They might try to go to quarter guard or something, bump your hip up, but that's why I try to stay low. I'm actually working harder to push back than I am forward. Okay, and it's a very hard skill to get your head around, the fact that you want to go backwards, not forwards. But my hips staying heavy on Kev here is what gives me the time to stay here for as long as I want. If I lift like this is where he'll start to play his guard again. See, he can force me back to having to reset position and get to the snare now. Okay, like for example, if Kev started to loop his hand in front of my face, this is where I bring my shoulder back in the game. I'll keep my head in the game. But again, I keep the marble rule alive, keep the 2 inches, but I just make sure my hips are heavy. Okay, so the shoelaces look are going out into this leg. Okay, so my shoelaces are going out into this leg like this. So my shin is actually facing away from the person. That'll let my hip drop naturally. Okay, it's the best detail we give for a kneecap is always about your hip dropping and not about your shin stapling. You don't want your shin facing forward. There's no pressure to be given there. Alright, because you're beaten by the length of your leg essentially. Alright, so for example, like in this position, okay, like this, let's say hypothetically, he starts to fight me and then gets his knees back in front. Look, all I've got to do, I just go back, put my knee back on the hip, and drop my hip back in. And then we get this crush, and we start to work our game. Okay, for me the kneecap position there is like a cooking position. As I just stay there as long as I want. And they can work their absolute ass off. And they're not going to get back in the game. And then I'll pass. Okay, I don't rush my pass out. I didn't want to pass, is the truth. I just keep pushing on you until you go, oh. And then I hold it for a little bit longer, then I pass. Okay, when you pass fresh, they're going to fight very hard. When you hold and pin them to the floor, and you're like, look, you know and I know, you can't move. They fight a little more, and you go, you done? And then you pass. And they know then you're going to get second draw. Okay, so it stops these almost passes. You happy with that? Okay, so just give me, I'll try my best. Right? So let's say I come quarter guard like this, but I've got him beating everywhere else. Okay, so I've got everything else here. Like what most people try to do is they keep trying to pull this foot through. What I would do at this point, put my knee back on the top here. Okay, because one, it stops anything from resting up. It stops everything that side of the body. Two, it turns my foot. So actually when I come to the knee up position like this, I can either start trying to go bottom out, or when I recut, I get actually much more success bringing it out of what I call it the letter box. So when it's like this, and my foot's through, you've got to imagine my foot is like a T, yeah? So like I'm just bottlenecking my own foot like this, trying to put it through. But if I put my knee back up to the centre, it turns my foot and then the letterbox becomes open for me to put my foot through. Alright? So you see this all the time, people like trying to mental stuff in that position. But the truth is, you can just put your knee back onto the hip. And if I ever get put in quarter guard, immediately, it doesn't matter if I've got no underhook, I always put my knee back up. Because it stops, again, like 90% of his jiu-jitsu. Then I'll fight for the underhook, I'll re-pummel, or if I have to, I'll just try to re-square and back up if I have to, you know? Okay, so let's say I'm in my knee cut position like this, and I want to get the success for the pass. Now, obviously, the knee to elbow space is one of the crucial things that he's going to block. Okay, like, yeah, he could bring my, this is annoyingly far more intelligent than other defences, so actually hugging my knee to him is better than putting my knee away from him. Yeah, okay, this is a shame. Try to rethink, no, I'm joking. And then it's like he jams in, okay? So this like this, if he starts to do this, then I'm going to bring this hand back and start trying to pin the wrist. But what I really want to focus on, when I'm fighting, hand fighting or anything here, is the position to get this out of my way isn't to try to cut through. I want to try and get my knee to his knee and drop his knee away from me. Because especially against, can I yeah, so especially like, against someone really much smaller, more flexible, a lot of times they can go into like a ball like this, and it's infuriating because you don't really want to try and crush someone tiny, like with all your strength.
Remember that?
It just makes.
What's wrong with that?
It just makes you. I was going to do better already there. You know, my sister, yeah. See, playing the ball tucked like this, and I'm like, oh man, there's nowhere to go. Like I'm stuck. The truth is, I want to try and get my knee to the floor on top of their knee. See, I want my knee to be on the floor in line with their knee. But it's actually very hard to stop, because if I keep my chest to chest and I would walk backwards, it's actually very hard to stop the knee separation. It's much easier to do that. Keep on trying. It's much easier to do that than to try and pull this elbow out. All the time, people try to dig this elbow, fight this hand. Like, just do chest to chest. But when I'm chest to chest, if I just hug and I push, they'll spin. If I put this hand to the mat, look, and push, the head can't move. See, so the knee separates. Then I put my hip through and then complete my pass. Okay, so this is a simple deal on your kneecap. Once you get the hip in the pocket, you want to try to get your knee to the floor in line with your knee and then slide it backwards. Because that's much stronger to separate the knee to elbow than trying to separate the elbow. Especially now, Kevin. If I got this position, I can hug my knee like this. If I was in this position here, I'd have no choice but to try and put my hand to the mat and keep trying to push my knee away from him. And I just keep doing this until I get some separation. Because like, you can't hold that all day. You can't keep fighting that mechanic all day. Yes, I just keep fighting this, trying to get this in, and then I just keep trying to drive the knee backwards. I would never, ever in this position, if you hug my knee like this, I would never try and fight. I would maybe control the hand, but I would push my knee back like this.
But you kept your shoulders squared really well there, didn't you? As opposed to the one where I get to re-swim this back into the game.
That's what you've always got to be, see? It's like, it's honestly, like, if I get into this pocket here, you're not getting on my back, no way. And even if you do get in front of my face, I'll keep my shoulder strong then. So I never let the elbow come in front of me again. Yeah, so I just keep fighting this all the time. Butterfly my hands to the mat, and I'm trying to drive that knee away. And so this position is so hard for them to stop me passing. Improve and get a lot of my jiu-jitsu. The only issue is that when you show one technique, if people beat that one technique, you're like, like what else can I try, you know? So I just show something to smash past side, and I'll show the two most common things we can do. Okay? So I'm in this position like this. And here, okay, I'm obviously keeping that central, fighting hands all the time, one crash on. I literally just feel comfortable, okay? When I unhook now on the kneecap side, and I drive across to the smash past side, I would do all the same. I would just make sure I immediately start attacking the shoulder line. I always try to get my butterfly again here. I think it's way better. And then we can keep going for the pass. Now the pass I want to try and do in this scenario is to try to get my knee over his knees into this position here. Now one of the most common things I see in this scenario, and you get this for a lot of passes in this particular position, is people trying to put the knee over the knee like this and hold the knee in this position. Now if my foot, again, is facing the line of my knee towards my partner, there's no way I will stop him from, doing that. If I put my knee into this gap and put my toes up in line, it is impossible for them to flare that elbow and push my knee back. It doesn't matter if Kev tries now here, I'll be able to hold this position and I'll be able to stop the knees going back in. Okay? So flaring your foot in this position is a tiny detail, but it is honestly worth its weight in gold. Alright, like say for example, like I'm a butterfly, anything like this, and when I'm trying to clear, say kind of a double butterfly, like this, if I manage to clear his knee like this and start fighting it in, when I put my foot down, look, I don't do this. See? I do this all the time. I keep this foot flared, and then that knee's not coming back in the game. Okay? So this position, look, flare that foot, and then we can obviously just drive straight to the mount if you want to. Okay, that would be the most common pass in this position. Is driving to the mount. What I would prefer to do myself is I would start a pass towards the mount here and put my shoelaces, a pivot off my knee and put my shoelaces onto the top of the quad. Because this way doesn't matter what he does, he's got to be upside this side or mount. Okay, because he can't put my foot back in his guard. Yeah, so if I go back, look here, the most common pass now is to step here and go to the mount. But the issue is if I do that pass and he decides to fight this foot back into a half, like this, so this could happen. Whereas if, for example, I hit this position, my foot's out like this, and I step and do this, it's very hard for him to do anything now. Because I can chill. Yeah, if I commit to this side, it's fine. If Kev wants to go flat or anything, if he starts to work, I'll just get my backs. Okay, shoelaces on the back of the leg, really easy detail. Okay, last thing in smash pass, just because I know it'll happen, you hit the smash pass, they make a little bit of room, and then they get the butterfly hook back. This is one of the most frustrating things. Okay, now if you're fighting butterfly guard, my advice to you, don't. Don't fight it. Just get rid of it. Easiest way to get rid of butterfly guard, walk your feet towards your open side and put a staple in from the outside hook. Okay, and now just switch sides. Butterfly should always switch sides, you shouldn't fight it. The butterfly's the strongest guard for leg lockers, Nogi in general. It's a very difficult position to pass. So if I get to this position, look, ball pegs the butterfly back in. Look, I don't want to lose my chest in, I don't want to lose my hard work, no way. But look, if I just try to put this in, it can be difficult. So I walk towards it, butterfly in. Now, the same as earlier, when my shin was into the shoe, my shoes was into the back of the knee. Look here, stapling is no good. People think stapling is your knee and foot. Yes, but your shin has to go out. If I get a position like curve and my knee is flat, if he pushes me, I'm just going to start balancing. If I do this, look, and I push my shin face out and he starts to push me, that's much harder. You see my shin flares. My shin flares out. Because you give me time. Get my underhook, knee cut. Okay, so butterfly hook, don't fight it, just get rid of it. Switch side. Best thing is we're doing left and right passage, when we switch side, what do we get? Free underhook. You see, and then the game has to come together then. All we're going to do is just rinse and repeat this.
Could you see the first one again, please?
Yeah, just rinse and repeat and you won't lose. Kind of. Okay? As in, you know, like, there's so much I can do. You should do the work now, yeah? So look, I land in a smash pass position like this. Look, and I'm going to try and fight this knee through this gap. Now, there's a good chance they'll be blocking with their elbow and other things, but the truth is the more, if they're blocking with their elbow strong, it's actually very hard for them to like hip out and start to work their legs. So like, it is a continuous battle we're having, but eventually I'm going to try and get my knee into this pocket here. Because when knee goes into the pocket, look, I just tip my toes away. Tip my toes away. Okay? Now it doesn't look like I'm that heavy, but that's not the goal. Mechanically, I'm beating them in a lot of positions, so I can be calm here. So look, I'm going to start stepping higher, as if I want to go to mount, but I'm just going to pivot on my heel, on my knee, to get my toes onto the top of the quad. This position is so strong because like you're base your pass, doing your pass to guard. And now all I do is I work off of his reaction, see how they try to defend, how they try to stop me, and how they take mount, side control me on belly. But again, like, this is easy now to start climbing and securing position. Happy with that? Oh, you're close. Where is it? No, come on, fuck me. I'd be dead if I try to squat heavy. What's the strongest lift you can do? It's like a deadlift or a squat, but it's just...
Half lift. Oh, leg press.
Leg press. Yeah, leg press is usually people's generic highest lift, okay? So your personal might be highest deadlift or squat, but generically, leg press is the strongest because it isolates everything for you and allows you just to use the biggest muscle groups you have. So you think Kev's on the floor like this, and I'm pushing into his guard. He's in a fucking leg press, man. He's in the strongest possible position he could be in. So imagine that you went to your gym and your gym were like, look, we've installed this cool thing on the leg press. It shakes side to side as you do leg press. Would you use it or no? I ain't using it, no way. It's just gonna kill you. Like anything would be like, boom, dead. Alright? So that's the idea. So when I'm pushing this guard like this, see, every good guard that Kev establishes, okay, so he starts to establish anything on me. Like, see how it's very linear and strong? Yeah, it's always very linear and strong. He uses hips enough that the knee and foot can stay in strong positions. See, because if he didn't do that, the legs would not be strong at all. So every time anyone tries to put a guard on, for example, Kev had a really strong position when I fought him this way and he crossed his feet here, this felt super strong. So like, if I try to push into this at all, I'm 100% going to lose. If I retract a little bit and then try to make those legs off-center a fraction, like this is not, I can feel it now, there's not much strength there at all. There's more than I'd like, but there's definitely not more than there was here. When I'm in this position, see, he's very strong. I feel that straight away, he can move my weight. But if I just do this and you try to do some movement, see? But the point is that the basics of this would be butterfly down heaver. So for example, if I'm passing the guard, Kevin down heaver, I would always just straighten my leg and kick my knee face out a little bit. Not much, just enough. Then if it was butterfly, look, I would do the opposite. I'd pull my knee in and in to try and hit the heel off the centre line like this. Yeah? It's subtle, it's super subtle. When I'm passing, I always want the ability to stop his straight line guards. So one drill we do in our gym, okay, we call it a stanky leg drill. Basically you do no hands, I do no hands. And all your client does is they try to just like put feet on you like this, and you just practice trying to disrupt and not allow them to so you don't want you don't want to have no strength, okay? But that's the basic, but that's how the pressure passing works. Because if I was pressure passing Kev like this, and I was come into the action, so you actually sparring like this, I'd always come in, and every time he hooks something strong, I'd be like, nope, I don't want that. Yeah, every single time. Like, as soon as I feel like he's trying to get a grip on something, you see? I keep trying to knock it and make it hard work until I can get chest to chest. It is tighter on top, but I can tell you it's so much more tighter on the bottom. So the returns are good. The returns are good because you've got to make yes. But for them to match you, they've got to output way more. Okay, but this disruption drill is hard, but when you feel it, it's good, you know? But the goal is you never let someone for free grab you, hands or feet. But do you notice how I didn't go backwards? Because it's very easy to avoid grips by every time you do this, just to try and run away. Then how is he ever going to succumb to pressure? Okay, it's like a boxer sitting in the pocket and being able to slip everything you throw, and then just every now and again just going pop, 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 and just tipping away you. Because that's what I'm doing on top. That's what I do. I just come top and I just tip away. I just hold this position, and I always try to make sure that see? That's the goal. Yeah, the goal is just keep doing that for as long as you can manage, essentially. Alright? It is difficult, but it's actually what makes our passing system what it is the truth. It's the idea of continuously going forward, putting pressure on, and disrupting them so they can't grip you. Alright, it is harder. But it's the last thing we do. Chance to think about, have 2 minutes to drill with before we spark, and then you can have an idea what I'm trying to achieve. Any questions on that? Okay, excellent. 1, 2, 3.